how we build the project. We have the ring of concrete, the columns, all the execution floor plans, and then the skin of the facade. It will be next to another museum by David Chipperfield that is now construction. This is a selection of images of all the process of construction for the mesh, the old custom made. This is all the process of how we were mounting all the hexagons on top of the waterproof membrane.
Solution that needed to be understood better.
Was that if we had gone through, and we love detailing every part of a building, you know.
I'm Diana Darling from the Architects newspaper. It's been a great day. We've had a lot of interesting speakers, and it feels this is our third conference this year. We started the conference series in February in New York City, and then we did a second one in San Francisco in July, and this is our third in October 2012 in Chicago. We started a newsletter called Fabricator last year, and I don't know, I love all those fabrication projects. I really love the art kind of mixed in with design and building, and I didn't feel like there was a repository for these kinds of projects that happen. So we started a newsletter where we talk about the projects every week. We met these guys in Texas called the Digital Fabrication Alliance. They had a conference. I was like, oh, that's really cool. Let's do that in New York. And then we ran into somebody else. He said, well, I'll do the conference with you, but we got to talk about facades. So we sort of meshed it all together. We said, well, we're going to talk about digital geometry. We're going to do these workshops, and then we're going to talk about facades. And then I met Patterson. He sort of brought some different things to the table, and it's kind of how it happened.
We like to involve the materials industry, the industry suppliers in the conference. Good design is rooted in materials and processes, a study of materials and processes. And the intent of the conference is really to bridge industry, the profession, and academia.
But the things that are sticking out for me have to do with the incredible fluidity of the design process now. As a professor, you know, I'm constantly having to pull the students through an iterative process, you know, and making the point, look, you can't just do it once. You have to do it multiple times just to understand it. And so what we see happening here is the idea of iteration becoming not just, you know, we're going to do 5 of these, but we're going to do 50, we're going to do 100, we're going to do 200 iterations of this idea and study it, not just from the way it looks standpoint, but energy usage, energy performance, daylight harvesting, all of these issues. And the personal computer, I believe, has finally gotten to the point where we can make significant progress without having an army of people to make it happen.
The holistic approach that the Thornton Tomasetti guys are bringing to their interdisciplinary parametrics group, and the ability to evaluate very quickly the embodied energy, sustainable performance, structural analysis, and kind of other design considerations up front with a model in real time on a server. That was very cutting edge and pretty exciting stuff.
I thought it was very refreshing to see what my old Stevens colleagues, Keith and Justin from SOM Blackbox, showed kind of the idea of, I mean, first of all, building physical mock-ups in-house, and not just building them, but really simulating them in-house. And also the research collaborative that Keith was talking about, where they stress tested the panels to really see how they would perform, just because there's not enough data out there yet to rely on.
You know, I think overall, for me, the conference was all about the diversity of approaches. And when you look at something as maybe as singular as facade design, you think there's sort of one direction or one movement. The more I see, the more I realize it is an incredibly diverse, incredibly complex, and incredibly fertile area for future development, because it is the skin of our buildings, and like the skin of our bodies, it is sort of the largest element that makes us up. So it's a great, incredible time to be part of this, we'll call burgeoning new field.
Will Lauf's presentation kind of blew me away, especially the ductile concrete, and also his kind of projections forward in terms of sort of digital rules of form making. But I think in general, what's kind of unique about this context is the diversity of players in one room, and it's in an academic context, but it's not run by the school per se. And I think that in and of itself is pretty unique, and I think it feels truly diverse in ways in which materials conferences and innovation conferences haven't before. So it's pretty exciting.
You know, innovation is our theme with the conference. So there's been a lot of talk about innovation and collaboration, and the fact that you know, innovation is basically a collaborative endeavor, and so these two topics blend together, and I think very appropriately and importantly, because you know we're faced with a situation where we need to pretty desperately innovate our way to sustainability in the built environment, and you know, so this talk about innovation and collaboration, I think is really integral to us achieving these things.